Dr. Lamas, I'm really curious from the standpoint of a caregiver, are you tested and how long does it take for you to find out whether you're positive or not?
Yeah, so the way it works now, and this has been sort of like everything with COVID, has been ever shifting. But the way it currently works in my hospital, because we have a decent number of healthcare workers who have tested positive for COVID, and so they're trying to ramp up their efforts. So essentially, starting this past Saturday, every day that we go to work, before we enter the hospital, we have to fill out a survey that asks us if we have any potential symptoms of COVID. So it asks us if we're having a cough, if we're having a fever, if we're short of breath, if we have lost our sense of smell. Those are the primary ones. And if we answer yes to any of those, it's sort of a do not pass go straight to occupational health. In that setting, you do get tested. One of the house staff that I work with had a really sore throat yesterday, and he went to occupational health, got tested. They told him his results would come back between 2 and 6 days. He actually found out this morning he did not have COVID. If you answer no to all of those, you get what's called a COVID day pass, which means that you are okay to work for that day, and then you repeat that entire cycle the next day.
Okay, so if you are tested and it takes 6 days, do you work those 6 days?
At our hospital currently, we are not supposed to work. We don't go to work while all of that is pending. We'll see if that lasts, right? There are some hospitals where people are now being told, as long as you don't feel sick, even if you're waiting for a test, go in with a mask. But that's not the way it is for us.
Yeah. So when you go home at the end of the day, what's your ritual of cleaning, protecting, quarantining yourself or whatever when you get home? Do they like hose you down in the driveway? What happens when you get home?
Perhaps if we had a hose in a driveway, that would happen. But the way it works is that, first off, even before I leave the hospital, I have a set of scrubs, and we change those essentially each time you work. And so I used to just come home in whatever clothes I wore in the hospital. But now I take the scrubs and I put them in the scrub machine, change into other clothes, obviously, before doing that. And then have a new set of scrubs for the next day. And then I come home, and my partner set up an entire sort of decontamination zone where there's disinfectant wipes where I wipe down all of my clothes or my shoes and things like that, or my cell phone. And then I get in the shower. And so to make sure, essentially, to stop any coronavirus from leaving the hospital with me and coming into the home.
Do you believe we're headed for the medical system being overwhelmed before this does flatten out?
I think so. I think if you look at New York, there's clearly the possibility for this virus to overwhelm the medical system. And I think that's scary, that's frightening, but it clearly is true. My hope is that with the social distancing that is happening, with the real sort of clear directives to stay at home, that we will be able to flatten the curve, so to speak, such that even if we do have, a steady and significant number of cases, these cases do not surge such that the medical system is as overwhelmed as it has been in New York. But clearly, along with everyone else, I'm worried about our abilities to prepare sufficiently. And, I think there are real worries that we have.
Do you believe you're being adequately protected?
I believe that at the moment, we have sufficient personal protective equipment. We are now reusing equipment in ways that we weren't just 2 weeks ago. And that does make me worried that there will be a trend toward, less and less equipment being available. At this moment, however, I do feel adequately protected, and I can only hope that as the patient numbers increase, that continues.